Welcome to my channel. It's kind of a weird name. It looks like it says commuter, but it's OC commuter, Orange County commuter, and I commute on my e-bike or whatever I can find to travel from wherever I happen to be to my job in Irvine. It's about 10 after 9 right now. I need to get to work by 9:45 because I have a class at 10 for 2 hours, and then after my class I have a short break, and then I have another mentor class. So I'm taking management courses at work. I'm already a manager, but it's just a program that my work has. So where I work, they have an education department. So I try to take advantage of things like this when I'm given the opportunity. So I don't know, I think it's a 16-week program? You know what, we gotta get right here. I think it's a 16-week program. So right now I'm on my second book. So I gotta prepare for a book presentation for next week. So that's what we'll be working on today. On top of that, we're moving out. So the reason why it's so late, so normally I leave about 6:30. Oh wow, look at that Blackhawk. Normally I leave work about 6:30. Ideally I would leave to work at 5:30, but right now the way my schedule is, I need to get there later and stay later. What is the helicopter doing? So they're flying back from downtown Santa Ana. So the reason why I'm leaving late is because right now we're staying in hotels, which has been incredibly interesting. So ideally we would have a credit card. Like, things are easier with a credit card, I think, when it comes to hotels, because like the way they hold money and then charge you money and refund some back, and so like all this traffic, all this debit card traffic is just really took us for a roller coaster ride. And it's so hard to it's really difficult to figure out. So we're on Memory Lane right now. Should look familiar. I did this ride on Saturday or Sunday, I can't remember. Probably Sunday. So I think this route is only about 10 miles. So I should be able to make it pretty fast. I just have to decide which way I'm gonna go. So we were at the point yesterday where I was gonna put this wind horse up on this wind horse bike up for sale on what's it called, OfferUp or something. I was like, so I bought it for $1,000, but you know, I've ridden it a lot. It's got, you know, we're getting close to 5,000 miles on it, so it's not really worth a lot. I mean, I still feel like it's great, you know. But the thing is, I thought I was going to need some money, so I was like, well, maybe I could sell this for a couple $100. So in the community post, look out for that. If you're local and I'm in a emergency and you want to buy this prized OC commuter e-bike autographed by me, OC commuter, I'll get you a good deal. Like a steal. All right, so we're on Flower Street going through Floral Park. Yeah, I don't know if I want to stay on this the whole time, but it's definitely going to be the fastest route. Like, this is pretty nice. Gets a little hectic right here until we get downtown. Then it gets pretty easy for a while, but at a certain point, it's just like this part right here is pretty sketchy. You can see how much room we have. So unless we're riding in the gutter, there's very little space. So if a car is going to give us the 3 feet required by law of space, they're going to be up in the other lane. The traffic's not bad at all right now. The street's really clean. They use a street sweeper on this street, so it makes a huge difference. Well, maybe not in this section. So we might be blocked off up here because this takes us right by all the federal buildings, so this street might be blocked off. Do we want to go around this car? Yeah, let's go around this car. Maybe let's see. We're going by the main jail. We got county buildings here. We got federal buildings here. So I was thinking like kind of doing a little morning meditation, and I'm thinking about riding my bike and all the different places I ride and in this traffic every single day, 2 hours a day on this bike, 5 days a week, at least. I started feeling a little nervous. I was like, yeah, it's just so risky, man. It really is. And I do ride pretty slow sometimes, but sometimes, like today, I'm like I'm on a mission. I have a very specific time frame here. If I get a flat, like that just blows it for me, But so trying to be fast is imperative, but it also, puts me at risk, So it's always like, it's always, very important to kind of always, you don't have to ride fearfully, but like really I'm speaking for myself, I guess. It's really important that I don't daydream and you really there's certain areas where you can kind of drift off and look around and, but in some situations you really have to expect the most disastrous thing to happen so you can avoid it. Like this street, for instance, this guy can't see me at all. And he's pulling out. This is a pretty nice ride here in the shade, though. Here you've got streets where people can pull out. You've got driveways. You got other people on bikes, cars. It should be a more relaxed route, really, being that it's through a residential area with a bike lane. But cars don't see it that way, they just rip down the street, Hugo's, licuados, tacos, Reina Market, carnicería, taquería. Hacemos comida para sus fiestas. We have food for your parties, y'all. All right, we're going to be in a situation here. These are some pretty solid routes, north and south. So with, even though it seems like we're going east and west, I can't figure that out. I haven't looked at it on a map. But this would be considered that we're going south here. But we've got some pretty solid routes now, right? So Bristol is pretty firm. There's some good bike lanes. They're adding more bike lanes. That's solid. Flower Street's always been solid. And then now moving east, we didn't have anything. Like Grand is a nightmare. Main Street's beautiful, but it's challenging on a bike. We got Bush Street and then the neighborhood bike path. That's pretty solid, but it's not like a fast commuter bike route. So now they're doing standard. Standard's gonna be solid all the way from 4th Street all the way to, well, definitely 1st Street, but essentially 4th Street all the way to past McFadden, all the way to Dyer? No, Warner. Yeah, all the way to Warner. And then you can cut through Delhi Park and hit up Pacific Electric Park. So we've got some pretty solid routes, man. All right, we go. We go. How are we going to navigate this? We gotta go suicidal through the intersection here. Uh-oh. We got a roadblock. What's up, man? I think if you could make like money landscaping, I think it would be a pretty good, a pretty fun job, you know? Like, I don't feel like the work is like, I mean, it's definitely physical, but it's not like so physical that you're like dying by the end of the day. I mean, I know it gets hot. I mean, if you're landscaping in freaking Palm Springs or Palm Desert or something, you know, that would suck, or somewhere in Arizona. But like being a landscaper in Orange County and just like, okay, you gotta go trim this tree and then rake up the leaves and put them in this truck, or put them through the, I've done work like that, you know, put them through the chipper shredder or whatever. The bad part is it's definitely hard work for sure, but you stay physical, so it's good for you. I guess it's the type of job where you could go get into a meditative kind of state, you know, kind of just like, okay, like it's pretty straightforward, you know, there's not going to be any, you know, surprises. It's just basic, you know. It doesn't take a lot of planning. It just yo, this is a schedule we're going to do today. We're going to do this, this, and this. Unless you have some oppressive boss that's going to like push you to the limits, For me, like the challenging jobs are the jobs that I've had millions of jobs. Well, not millions, that's a lie. I've had dozens of jobs. I've done everything, man. Like, seriously. Everything. I've been everything from a housekeeper to like a sewer contractor. I worked for a sewer contractor. I've done it all. Guy's spraying. One guy's chilling in the truck, the other one's doing all the work. They're spraying weed, so I just rode through weed spray. Yeah, I've done, I've painted houses, I've done construction. The housekeeping job, I used to clean cabins, like up in the giant forest, like up on the mountains, all my supplies, like pushing them in a wheelbarrow up mountain trails and down mountain trails, and just grueling, like billy goat work. And then you get into the cabin and you clean the cabin, make the bed, clean the bathrooms, like that whole thing. What other stuff have I done? I've worked in factories where I was a machine operator. Oh, come on, people. You're gonna get me freaking caught up here. Go, 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 go. Yeah, so I've been a machine operator where where you like take recycled rubber material and you cut it and form it to a specific weight and size, and you put it in these massive, tall, heated presses with molds in them, and it makes tires. And you run like 5 or 6 machines at once, just crazy work. Out in the desert, out in Adelanto, out in the high desert. I've done fiberglass work. I've rented out heavy equipment. I've worked in hardware stores. I've been a dishwasher. I've been a prep cook. I've been a fry cook. Those jobs were all combined, right, at the same restaurant. I started out as a prep cook. Then I also did busing and dishwashing, and then, started using the fryer, making pastas and stuff like that in a nice restaurant up in the mountains. But I guess what I'm getting at is the most challenging jobs, with the exception of working for the sewer contractor, that was a grueling job. That was the hardest job I've ever done. And I'll talk about that. But 24 minutes. So the hardest jobs are the jobs where you don't have the ability to get into the flow state, get into that zone. Like my job right now, when it gets busy, it's hard to find. Now that I'm manager, it's not quite so bad, but that middle ground in between being an individual contributor, sometimes you just wear too many hats. When you've been doing something and your job hasn't been clearly defined, like in the past, like 5 or 6 years ago, my job wasn't clearly defined, so I was wearing a lot of hats. I was working on equipment, I was scheduling equipment, I was buying equipment, I was just doing everything, man. And there's and now it's not so bad, but like for instance, that was when it was really hard because you don't get breaks, you don't get a chance to just like take a deep breath and relax, because you've got, especially nowadays, like with all the different forms of communication. So we got cell phones. So for instance, on my cell phone, I've got Teams. So I have Teams chats. I have text messages. I have emails. I have maintenance software. I have organizational software on my phone for what I'm doing. So those are 5 apps that are continuously sending me information, and I'm sending information back to them. And then that's not even considering information from the outside world. You've got your kids contacting you, your wife contacting you, bill collectors, and all this happens indiscriminately. The people aren't like, oh, he's at work, let's leave him alone. No, you're gonna get bombarded. And then I've got 3 emails. So I've got a work email, got my classic Gmail, and then I've got the OC commuter Gmail. And then you want to throw like YouTube on there, and then Instagram and freaking TikToks. Like, dude, it's like a mess. So that's why it's like I have an Instagram account and a TikTok, and I tried to incorporate that into the channel, but it's just not possible, to really maintain a channel like that. Like if you get big and you start really making money, I think hiring like a moderator or somebody that can help you manage your social media accounts and stuff like that would be awesome, I try to get my kids to do like the Instagram or the TikTok for me. Here's some material, here's some videos, go ahead and make make me some shorts or make me a TikTok, make it funny. But yeah, they're not biting on that at all. They're like, oh yeah, okay, Dad. They got their own stuff going on. But yeah, the hardest jobs are jobs where like you're balancing too many things and you can't really get into the present state of mind, because you're getting drawn and quartered. Even more than drawn and quartered, you're getting, they're ripping your arms out, and also all your fingers and toes and your ears, and you're just getting ripped apart in every direction mentally. But yeah, the hardest job I ever had, I probably won't have time to talk about it, was working for that sewer contractor. So I used to rent out heavy equipment, and one of the people that used to rent backhoes from me was a sewer contractor, very rugged guy. He was an old Irish dude, and just old school, really tall, huge, back bent over, been working hard labor like his whole life. Now he's sitting on the back of a backhoe doing septic tanks and doing drainage ditches and anything to do with drainage, and installing infiltrators and that kind of stuff. So I had been working in New Mexico, so I left that job, went to New Mexico, worked up in the mountains, came back and was looking for a job, and then I hit up Paul McDonald. That's his name, Paul McDonald. And he's like, the people that work for him, they're great people, but they're all people who can't get jobs anywhere else. They pay cash under the table. $10 an hour. But the people that work under them have most of them have been in prison. So you've got a crew of about 4 or 5 people. They're all ex-convicts. And then he's like, dude, I don't think you could. He's like, dude, I don't think you can hang with this job, Chris. Like, and he's a rough dude himself. Like, he's hard to deal with himself, you know, just him alone. But then you got 5 other people tattooed down. Some of them have been, there was one dude on the crew that had done 15 years. You know, some of them were getting out of life sentences, like literally went that route, you know what I mean? Like, and the age range was like 30s to like 40s, you know, all these different people. And like I said, 4 or 5 guys, I can name them all, but we won't go there right now because I'm almost to work. But I was like, dude, I can do it, bro. Like, I can do it. So when I first started, it was like, come on, go, 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 go. Jesus. Dumbass. When I first started, it was so hard, man. It was so hard the whole time, but I was like dogging it. I mean, we're connecting like houses to city drainage, city sewer, so they're breaking up asphalt. He's breaking it up with a backhoe, and I'm loading up big old chunks of asphalt, putting them in a wheelbarrow, then digging with a shovel, exposing the drainage, and then hooking the drainage from the house up to the drainage in the city. Dude, just digging massive holes, and, you know, wheelbarrows and shovels, just and the hot sun, you know. This was in the Central Valley, so we had days where it was over 100 degrees, you know. Climbing down into neighborhood sewer systems with these like jets that like clean out the, you know, just craziness. Anyway, I've got a bunch of stories about that. Meanwhile, you've got a group of guys that you're working with that are in shape because they've been doing this a long time, and you're not in shape, you know. You've been up on a mountain drinking beer and hanging out for 6 months, you know what I mean? So it was like, but after about 2 or 3 weeks, I got into shape, and then I was keeping up with everybody, you know. And actually, they used to call me, they even gave me a nickname. My nickname was, they call me Notre Dame, like, you know, like the Fighting Irish, because I'm a light-skinned and you know, I look like kind of like an Irish guy. I am, you know, mostly Irish and Portuguese. So, and probably a bunch of other stuff, but from what I understand, that's what I am. Anyway, so they call me Notre Dame. And they even told me, they're like, Notre Dame, you're the baddest white boy that's ever worked with us. He's like, no other white boys lasted longer than like a couple of weeks. Like, they quit, you know. So I ended up doing that for a few months, and then I had to get out of there. I got a regular job, you know. But there's a bunch of stories about that doing that, you know, even in that short amount of time. Anyway, y'all, thanks for watching my videos. A little fast and furious, but I think it went really well. So hopefully I'll get this video out to you guys tomorrow. I hope everybody's having a great week. And the routes are changing starting today. So routes are changing. Probably by Friday you'll have a video from a whole different side of town, seeing stuff you've never seen before. So that should be pretty cool. We'll catch you on the next one.